Hello and welcome to the mothership. I am the Commander in General Lack. Motherfucking Sivrak. I thought we would maybe have a candid conversation about the John Browning Designs Colt 1911 semi-automatic pistol. And maybe we'd do a field strip and then maybe even a full disassembly and a reassembly. First of all, again, I'm sure everybody saw that, but we'll do another safety check so no one will get concerned. The first thing I would like to point out, the original design by John Browning of the 1911 hinged completely on the revolutionary design of this grip safety, all right? And for those of you who may not understand what that means, what it means is even though the gun is cocked and ready to shoot, the trigger cannot be pulled unless the grip safety, which is this part here. Incidentally, all Springfields seem to have this. Springfield, you got a burr right here that nobody's checking. Anyway, the trigger cannot be pulled, see, until the grip safety is depressed. All right? Now, the original design of the 1911 did not incorporate this thumb safety. I repeat, the thumb safety on a 1911 that all armchair commandos and everybody who fucking thought they did anything spend so much time going on and on about is not even part of the original design, okay? The U.S. military made John Browning fit a thumb safety, an additional safety to the gun on top of the grip safety. John Browning designed this gun to be loaded and carried cocked with the hammer back, where it would be completely safe unless the grip safety is depressed, which can theoretically only be done when a human hand is engaging it. Okay, so dropping it, it being in a holster with an open trigger guard, being pulled by a stick or something when you're riding your horse, none of that is basically even fucking possible. So anybody out there, you know, who's always talking about their thumb safeties, you know, like John Browning would roll over in his grave. Not to mention the dreaded armchair commando, I read it in a magazine, I need a ambi safety. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Y'all look up Lone Wolf Gonzalez or Frank Hamer or some of those motherfuckers. Colonel Fairburn, I'm sure a lot of my British friends, Lobot specifically, you probably know who that is. Those motherfuckers cut their trigger guards off, they pinned the thumb safety down, and they tied a piece of rawhide for the grip safety. They disengaged all things. I'm not recommending that. I don't say that you should do that. I'm just historically stating that that is what some people did. You know, there's a famous account of one of those guys who has his safety pins down and the trigger guard gets cut off, and one of the young safety conscious punks, they say, "Oh my gosh, do you know how dangerous that is?" And the old motherfucker responds, "Yeah, that's kind of the fucking point." So don't let anybody fool you. The point to this tool is to be dangerous. So right there we can demonstrate the grip safety retracting on the reset. That's a very good fit part right there. You see, you hear that positive. Anyway, so we're 4 minutes into this and we haven't even done anything except talked about the design. So let's get into it, huh? We'll first do a cool John Wick chamber check. If anybody's seen that movie, I haven't. But I seen him do that because everybody thinks that's cool. Incidentally, if I go too fast and there's anything else you would like to see slower, just leave it in the comments and we'll go through it again. Now what you're looking at here, what we're doing right now is just a basic field strip. Make sure to have your magnetic tray. Barrel bushing. And barrel. This is a 70 series. It doesn't have the extra safety. If anybody notices, there's different companies that do both 70s and 80 series, but if you have an 80 series 1911, there will be another hole corresponding to the side of your sear hole. And it's a safety, it's a firing pin block safety. And so when it's not engaged, there's a notch in this firing pin right here that won't allow the firing pin to go completely forward, which is, again, one of the most ridiculous fucking things. We're gonna go ahead and pull the firing pin .45 firing pin spring. Now technically what I just did here is not part of the field strip. You can also take your ejector out, which I'm not gonna do. Extractor, excuse me. But I'm not gonna do that. Because there's no reason to. That's all very self-explanatory. If you do not have, I'm gonna go ahead and put this firing pin back in there, hopefully without shooting it across the room. Whoop. The Springfields do have a nice secondary notch just for that reason. Hold on. I'm losing the light. Alright. Yeah, the Springfields have a secondary lathe collar on their 1911. There you go. And then you always want to check to make sure your firing pin comes out. If y'all can maybe see right there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right. So this is basic field strip, okay? Nobody really expects you to do anything more than that, to be honest with you. But you know what? We're here, and I'd like to show you, so let's do it. We're gonna take out, this is the mainspring housing pin. I would always recommend to go ahead and take your grips off. Go ahead and take your grips off, no matter what you're doing. Whether you're cleaning or it doesn't really matter what you're doing. I recommend that you, the general public, needs to take your fucking grips off, because you could get solvent on them if they're plastic. You know, any kind, lots of things could potentially happen. Okay, mainspring housing pin, mainspring housing. Okay. Let's try to get the mainspring. All right. The first spring is to go to the fucking vertical pad. The second one goes to the return pad, and this is what gives you your tension on the grip safety. Incidentally, those names I just told you, those are not the actual fucking names. I can't remember what the fuck you call those. But anyway, one is the sear that engages with the hammer, and then I don't remember what the other thing is called. This one, I don't remember what they call that. Now, generally, you should be able to get this thumb safety in a halfway part, and then kind of whack the side of the gun to relieve it, but the hole in this Springfield is a bit tight, and that doesn't work, so I push it through. Now, the one thing you have to worry about when taking out your goddamn thumb safety is the plunger. Which as long as you ease it out and keep your hand over it, you won't fling this. Because this is under just enough pressure that this, if you pull that thumb safety out and you're not paying attention, I don't know if you can see this maybe, but see, that's quite a bit of, that's enough pressure that that fucker will shoot far enough that you won't find it. You know what I mean? You'll be very lucky if you do. Now, as you can see, the thumb safety, which is not part of the original design, is what holds in your grip safety. And now you are on the inside of this, okay? Now, we remove the hammer pin, which is the larger one. There's your hammer. And we will remove the sear pin, which is the smaller one. Dump those out as a two-piece part. This is the part I can't remember what they call this. God dang it. Hold on, where are you? I can't remember what they call this. This flat part, oh, this is the disconnector, isn't it? Yeah. This flat part is what rests against your trigger bar, which we will show you in a second. And this is the actual sear that interacts with the hammer, okay? The hammer notch right there. Whoop. That's your relationship there. And then this is your relationship here, if that's noticeable to anybody. See, it's two parts. Okay. The only thing left is the, let's see, we need a screwdriver and a screwdriver bit. The only thing left here is the, we're going to take out the trigger, and to do that, we have to take out the magazine catch, okay? Some have a slot screwdriver, some are, so you're going to put in, you're going to push it out a little bit, you're going to quarter turn it, and this piece comes out. Now don't turn this screw no more. Look, I'll show you here. Now, if you can see, there's a screw with a spring underneath it and then the slot. When you turn that out of that keyway, that's what pushes the pressure out. If you turn that motherfucker right now, it's gonna fly out, okay? That lock is what holds your trigger bar in. This is one of the designs that John Browning came up with. This is one of the reasons why this firearm did what it did and accomplished what it did. You can see the flat of the trigger bar on the back interacts with the disconnector flat right there. That's the relationship between those two parts. And as it pushes and rocks, on the pivot point, the sear drops, releasing out of the notch of the hammer, which is then falling forward, which is powered by the mainspring. After everything has fallen and fired, the trigger and everything is reset with the sear spring. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is a complete, let me get down a little bit farther like that. That is a complete disassembly, minus the grips and the plunger tube and the ejector. Okay, let's remember, this is the ejector. The part in the gun is the extractor. Okay, generally you're not going to go any further than this except for the grips. If you're going to blue it or if you're going to do any kind of refinishing work, then yeah, you may, depending on what type of finish, you may unstake these two parts. But generally, you don't want to fuck with these unless you just absolutely have to replace them. Because you have to stake this one from the inside, and this one you have to drill a new hole in this new piece, which isn't that big of a deal. As long as you have the correct size drill bits and everything. Making a new one, say in a Caspian frame, is different than chasing an old hole, right? Because you don't want to do that. So anyway, this has been the 1911 disassembly. I imagine we'll cut the video off here. Look for part 2, where we're going to put it all back together. All right, this is Lax Zivrak on the mothership saying 1911s are fucking awesome. Special shout out to Rolando and Captain Spaulding as I Mexican carry this gun. Also shout out to Michael Rizzo, who I know is a big fan of the 1911. And Mr. Rizzo, you are a man of taste. You're a man of style. So, I hope you all have enjoyed this 16 minutes of fame. And stay tuned for part 2. When we'll put this motherfucker back together. All right?